This programme is brought to you by Taom Billiards.
Too fast, too fly, too flaunty, too gas, too high, yeah, we on it. We go wherever the crew going. I'm ready, so tell me who want it.
Evening, welcome back to the Super Series here on Freesports. It's our final quarter-final of the competition, and that last semi-final spot is up for grabs. Who will take it? Will it be Dave McNamara or will it be Marc Farnsworth? We are about to find out. Let's hear from both players ahead of the big one. They're with Simon Webb.
Marc, brilliant performance in your last round against Ben. With the 15 seconds a shot, does a performance like that almost feel a bit freer and a bit more natural?
Yeah, it was weird. It's the first time I played on a 30-second shot clock loads of times, and obviously 45 and 60 seconds, but it was a bit of a shock to the system. But it is, like when you're on the finish, it doesn't really come into it. It's the scrappy frames, and if you run out of position a little bit, that's when it starts getting to you a little bit.
Deej, great to have you back here at the Super Series. Before we get on to tonight's quarter-final, I was going to ask about your mum's cups. Have you been breaking any more in practice?
No, to be honest, she's hid them on me, I think. You know, she won't even make me a cup of tea anymore, so I don't know where they've all gone. So it's one of them. Just the clubs have opened again now, so back playing just normally, I guess.
Different tournament having such a big gap between matches. Normal tournaments, you'll be able to sort of get on a roll, play match after match. If you had to prepare differently for this?
I've never really. I played a couple of hours yesterday. That's about it, really. To be honest, there's not much else going on, you know. So haven't really put a great deal of time in. But when I played, I have been playing reasonably all right. So looking forward to it.
Know what the tournament's about, but have you been able to get yourself some good practice matches? We know you played Gaz yesterday.
Yeah, been down to Gaz, been playing with Aaron Davis a lot, and my mate Mark lead them. You know, just general practice. You know, not dead really competitive, no money on it or anything like that. Just to get queuing again, because it's been a long time out for everyone really. So I've just been playing wherever I can. Not all pool halls are still open at the moment, are they? So, you know, Savannah's is still shut over in Manchester. So playing in my local Connie club and then nipping over to Warrington when I can, or down to Crewe.
And your opponent tonight, a tough match, but do you ever sort of change your style up depending on who you're playing?
I don't think you can really do that in this sort of format. You know, you've got to play to your own strengths, and obviously I know David's a very, very good player. I'll just try to play to your own strengths and take your own chances. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you're playing. If you can keep them off the table, you've got a good chance.
Well, I wish you the best tonight.
Thank you.
And thoughts on your opponent for tonight's quarter-final? Marc Farnsworth, one of the best ever in this game. Do you have to change or up your style when you're playing someone like Marc?
I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? You always just try and play the table, forget who you're playing, but Marc, you know, he is one of, if not the best player on the planet, so you just hope you get a bit of luck off the break. People say he's not a great breaker, but then I watched him in the first round, and I think he had 13 out of 15 finishes from the break, so hopefully he goes dry a few times tonight. I get a bit of luck, and hopefully it just goes my way.
Wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, cheers, Sam.
Welcome to the Super Series. We are so excited to join you this evening, and a great game in prospect, Simon, as Marc Farnsworth takes on David McNamara. Both players there feeling very confident, which is what we'd expect when both of them put in such fantastic round one performances.
Both players played well in the first round. Each had to work very hard at times, but when he got on a roll, he really won the pivotal moments. But Marc played just a brilliant performance all the way through his match. He was pushed a little bit by Ben Rowland, but the performance that Marc put in, you know, was spectacular.
And we had a fantastic game last night with the world champion of this year, John McAllister, taking on 2016's Victor Gareth Hibbert. Gareth coming through there with a quite impeccable performance, really. One of the best we've seen on live TV in a little while. And it got us thinking off air earlier on this afternoon, Simon, didn't it, about which of the best performances that we've seen so far in this tournament. I think it almost goes underestimated, really, because it feels like such a long time ago. But Marc Farnsworth in round one was, I mean, borderline unplayable.
He was. We talked a lot last night. If you were with us last night, you'd have seen a brilliant performance from Gareth Hibbert. He was absolutely brilliant in all aspects of his game. But when you look at the statistics alone, he had 6 finishes from the break, and it's not. This game isn't about finishing from the break, but it's a good benchmark to see how a player's played. Where he had 6 in his victory last night. You go back to Marc Farnsworth's first round, he had 13 finishes from the break in his first round match out of the 19 frames he won. That is an incredible ratio, and just highlights how brilliant a performance it was from him.
Yeah, it certainly was. We're currently watching the lag take place here. This is to decide who breaks, and it looks like David McNamara has won that particular battle. He's got a lot more to win if he's to come over the 2019 World Champion. It is all to play for. We all know our semi-final lineup at the end of tonight. Here we go. It's live. Next. Evening everyone, and if you're just tuning in, welcome to the West Midlands. We are here for the Super Series pool. Delighted to be with you. Stephen Jameson and Sam Webb with you once again, as we are most of the week. This is our second day of 4. We've got 2 semi-finals coming up for you tomorrow, but tonight it's all about our last quarter final. Who will make the final 4? Will it be Marc Farnsworth or will it be David McNamara? Your final thoughts heading into this one side as we see David McNamara take the game's opening break.
Yeah, I think there's no question, not just with his performance in the first round, but his performance, you know, he's arguably one of the greatest players of all time. Marc Farnsworth starts tonight as favourite, there's no question of that. But Dave is capable of winning this match. He has beaten Marc Farnsworth before. Looking at it, what does he have to do to beat him tonight? He needs to make the most of his chances. He needs to keep Marc Farnsworth off the table. I think if they end up with an even number of chances, Marc Farnsworth's going to win this match, because I don't see Marc Farnsworth squirting too many of them. So yeah, David's got to keep him off the table. Every mistake could be vital. We saw that last night. 2 great players in action, and every mistake was punished and absolutely pivotal.
So Dave at the table already. It was a good opening break with a decent split. He doesn't want to go in off here. He's all right for the in off, but he might well be snookered here off the jaw. Can he get through to those reds in the triangle position? It's going to be pretty tight, I think. Just overrun it. I think he might just be okay, you know.
Possibly the bottom one. He's looking actually at the cutback on the one in the middle of the table. Now he can get to this one, so he's just trying to see whether the one in the middle near the yellow will go to the right centre. Just potted that in the side of the pocket, so potted it thin. That knocked the white further down the table than he wanted, so things are starting to run away from him.
All it takes is a couple of centimetres out of position to really potentially ruin a break, but you can see there it wasn't quite there for David McNamara. It was really, really tight. It may not have gone at all. That was how tight this was. We've talked all tournament long about these middle pockets playing very true, but very small at the same time.
Not much to aim for in the centre pockets.
Marc Farnsworth is already about his work. It's not a bad opening shot to play. It's good little tester of how he's feeling. He's obviously feeling pretty confident here. And a player as good as he is, there is good reason for that.
We've seen Marc play at a phenomenal level for a number of years here on Freesports and across the tours, but there was something about that first round performance, and I think it's just the fact that because of the 15 seconds a shot, everything had to be sped up, and he just played natural pool. He was keeping things simple, which is his normal way about it. His pattern play is second to absolutely nobody, and playing that quickly, it was just a stunning night work for Marc Farnsworth. And it will be interesting to see how he goes tonight. Can he maintain that? Normally I would question, can you repeat a performance of that level? Marc, normally he can, but it has been a big break between matches.
For those of you who are not too familiar with the Super Series, we are playing black ball rules. And the format is the shootout format, which means each set lasts half an hour. In a first to 5 frame battle, whichever one comes first will end the set. 5 frames or 30 minutes. If the set is tied when the clock strikes 0, each player will take half a point. At the halfway point of the set, the shot clock splits in 2. We go from 30 seconds to 15, and there's no time at all. You can see Marc actually taking pretty good advantage of the 30-second shot clock, making that actually look like quite a long time by changing his mind on a couple of the shots then. It's not often we see that with Marc, but it shows his composure as well. 30 seconds used to be, I remember a couple of years ago when 30 seconds felt like the speed of light to a lot of the players, but just shows how comfortable he is with it now, that he's happy to mix things up and change mid-shot clock.
It's amazing how quickly 30 seconds has become a slow format in a strange way. Remember on Freesports a few years ago when we showed you the World Championships, that was a minute a shot. And then the Champions Cup that followed pretty soon after became 45 seconds a shot. And I played in that event, and 45 seconds felt quite short. Now 30 seconds feels like a long time.
Marc Farnsworth takes the opening frame of the set. Reminder of the black ball rules: the ball must hit the cushion after contact. Foul means one shot and a visit. None of this two shots carry any of that. It's a shot and a visit. Skill shots are allowed. You can pot a ball of any colour as long as you pot your own. So if you are yellows, for example, you can pot a red as long as you pot your yellow. Golden break in the instance of potting the black off the break. A golden duck will lose you a frame. Black and the white. We saw our very first one yesterday by John McAllister, which cost him a frame against Gareth Hibbett. Pot the black off the break, you get a frame to your name, which has happened far more regularly. First break of the night then for Marc Farnsworth. It was mentioned in the pre-match interviews that it's sometimes, and I don't even particularly like carrying this narrative particularly far because I don't really subscribe to it, but it's sometimes parroted as a weakness of Marc's game, the break. But in ordinary relative terms, it's not a weakness in any way. It's just the probably least good bit of an outstanding player. You can see there, his break is perfectly serviceable.
Completely agree. Marc Farnsworth has, he's when every other part of your game is exceptional and the break is just average, people will talk about the break being a weakness, and it is a weakness for Marc Farnsworth, but it's not. That doesn't mean it's exactly a. You can't win the titles he's won with a bad break. The one thing I would say is that I think his break's improved in the last 18 months, 2 years. I think he's worked on it. He knows that it is the weakest part of his game. Not to say it's weak, but he has worked hard on it. Certainly when he won the World Championships last year, I think that was as well as I've seen him break consistently over the course of a tournament, and I think he's just kept that going. And yeah, his break isn't the weakness it's talked about being.
Yeah, he's taking yellows as a colour set here. Kept the table open with his opening plan.
It's half a mistake. Did not want to get that cannon. No options but to try and clip this into the centre pocket. The pot's tricky, the cue ball and the positional side of the shot is trickier. Has to avoid those reds on the right hand side. Hard to land nicely on the next ball.
Pot's good. Positional shot is okay in the end. He's got a ball to pot. I don't think it's exactly where he wanted to be. Camming the red on the top cushion. But actually holding it up, it could have come out a lot worse for him.
He wasn't playing that cannon, that's for sure, but it has come out nicely. Delicate little touch shot, this one. Just a roll too far, really. He can still pop this yellow. Coming back to the top left. White's going to fly into that red. Now he may be able to hold the white on the red. The red's going to fly up and get involved with the red and yellow above it. So positional side of this shot is far from guaranteed.
And you hear from the reaction,
Total snooker.
he's not on the next ball. That was liable to happen. And we talk about it all the time, Simon, when positional shots go slightly wrong, they have a horrible habit of coming back to bite you later on in the break. The longer you fight them, really, the more difficult it can get, and not even the greats are averse to that, as Marc goes very, very close with the attempt off the cushion.
Thought he made that for a second, but you're absolutely right. You go out of position by half a roll becomes a roll, and 3-4 shots later, all of a sudden you're snookered on your final ball. And it is a fine line in this game.
Now then, David McNamara, if he is to win tonight against the odds, he has to take chances like these. No question about that.
It's not just a good opportunity, it's a good opportunity to win a frame after a Marc Farnsworth mistake, which in normal service doesn't happen that often, so you have to almost punish it. You have to punish your opponent when they make those errors.
And he talked about earlier. Oh, no.
He's completely miscued that. That's come straight off the side of the tip. That is a very strange error for a player of David McNamara's ability. There's nothing really on this shot. Yeah, you see it just comes straight off the side of the tip.
Yeah, it's a really strange one.
And Mark's done the same thing. Well, that's a very bizarre minute of Paul. Stretching. He's miscued as well.
Oh, even our referee, Donna Evans, is allowing herself a little giggle there. That is...
Oh,
that is exceptionally rare.
It'd be interesting to see that one again as we throw in the replay. He's getting the white cleaned like it was a bad contact, but I think it was just a bit of stretching and he's just mistimed his shot. So a massive let-off. I mean, joking aside, that really is a massive let-off for McNamara.
Oh, isn't it just? I mean, basic, we'll call them rudimentary errors, not often when they come to Marc Farnsworth. 2 in 2 shots, one of them being an absolute sitter, is really, really rare. That is Blue Moon territory. And goes without saying that when we talked about opportunity having to go for the first one, this absolutely must go now. This is a big frame to win all of a sudden.
It will sound strange to a lot of people at home who will be watching this going, well, it's only 1-0, you know, why are we building this up as being an important visit to the table? But it's just, it almost sets the tone for the set, it sets the tone for the match. Your opponent makes a bad mistake, they make 2 bad mistakes, you've got to punish that. You really have to punish that. Make sure your opponent knows when they miss, they're going to lose the frame.
And for all the right noises that David made in his interview before the match, when he talks about you play the table, you don't play the opponent, etc., etc., it is impossible for that not to be in your mind when you know you're playing one of the best players in the world. It automatically puts pressure on yourself. You think, I have to be perfect to win. And that is in itself its own kind of pressure. He won't feel outside pressure. He is essentially got nothing to lose in that sense. But if he wants to win, he knows he can't make mistakes. And this one was a big one. It was a weird one, but it was a big one, and he got a big let-off.
I can't work out which one was weirder or which one was bigger. Both players letting each other off the hook there. But I agree with everything you're saying, that, you know, as much as you put it out the back of your mind, you're just playing the table. You know, you've just got to take your chances. You know, when you're playing somebody, you know, whether it's Marc Farnsworth, Liam Dunster, John McAllister, Gareth Hibbert, you know when you're playing a world-class player, if you don't take your chances, it is going to hurt, and that adds to the pressure. And in a strange way, the worst thing you can do is think that, but you can't help but think that.
Well, Dave's broke dry here, and it's difficult to understand why. He's got a really good split. I think Marc does have an opening shot on that red at the top of the table, but it is thin. I'm not sure if he's got anything else here. It's the one thing that's let Dave off the hook with a dry break. I'm not sure Marc has an opening shot.
Interesting to see David go with that break half an hour before. Oh, I'll tell you what a shot that is.
Tell you
what a shot. It's just finishing off on David's break. Half an hour before we came live, he was still practicing on the table, and he was really working on the cut break, and he was hitting it well. I stood there from the corner of the room and said to him, you know, was having a chat with him, and he said, I've made a couple of golden breaks here, and then he made one right in front of me. So he's obviously come into this match thinking cut break, and his first 2 breaks have been from front ball. So explain that one.
I mean, I'm still thinking about the shot that Marc played to open the frame up there. I mean, when you consider his last shot on the table was, I mean, it was a hideous shot that you'd expect, you know, a 10-year-old to make in many respects if they were tall enough. But to then come back to the table and play that is just so impressive. It's an unbelievable shot from Marc Farnsworth there. Not just the execution, but the vision to see it.
Yeah, and he needed to play it off the yellow as well, because he wanted to open up the 2 yellows to make that easier into the centre pocket. So execution was exactly what he had in his mind. I think great players have got short memories. They don't remember the mistakes. They're gone from their mind almost as the minute it happens. It is just next chance mentality.
This is not an easy clearance. It looks like Marc's almost forced into playing the plant here. Did it really well. Still got a couple of good shots to play before he can take this frame out.
As long as he lands fairly straight on the yellow to the top right corner, you don't expect him to miss it, but they still need to be cued in. And that's okay. You want to be able to play at a nice comfortable pace where you're not worried about the white getting away from you, and that's exactly what he has here. You can just punch this in nicely.
Should be 2-1. Well, aside from the couple of aberrations that we've seen from either player, really hasn't been a bad start at all from both players here. It's 2-1 to Marc Farnsworth after 3, and that noise indicates the 15-second shot clock is almost upon us. This is Marc Farnsworth, fact file, the man from the northeast. He is a world champion as of last year, and the former IPA #1 as well. Scratch golfer in spare time, which is, I mean, I'm sure he's been putting in a couple of hours during lockdown, as a lot of people have.
It's the one statistic I look at on that list there. I didn't know he even played golf, and I've spent a little bit of time with Marc across the tours that we've been to, and I'm a very keen golfer, and we've never had a conversation about golf, so certainly one next time I chat to him, I'll try and pick his brains on it, see if he can give me some tips.
I suspect that's come out pretty nice, I think, here from Marc. 15-second shot clock is now in operation. He's got a couple of things to think about, and no surprise here to see him go reds, despite the fact that I think yellows, as balls to pot were easier. The reds tying the black up made his decision pretty easy in the end.
And we just saw him make a plant to this bottom right-hand corner, and he'll probably look to do the same thing again. If he lands behind it, he wouldn't expect to miss it. He could try and play on the bottom one first and then come back round for the one next to the black, but if he lands straight on the plant, you expect him to make it.
And a reminder as well that the shot clock applies until the cue ball is struck. It is not when the ball lands in the pocket.
Not perfectly straight, which means landing on the next ball isn't guaranteed. Lovely control though. Just needs to guard against finishing straight, but even if he lands with some angle on this last ball, it's not easy to get nicely onto the black. Well, it's impossible to get nicely onto the black now. Possibly all he has is to top through and take the black to the top right corner, which would be some pot.
He's going to be snookered on it.
He is.
Time out, please.
Well, you heard Marc there, called total snooker, and
Time
Donna, our referee, is going to have a little look.
Total snooker is confirmed. Well, I'm not sure how Marc gets out of this. He's not got a lot of time to think about it. He makes the hit. There was no way he could get that really tracking towards a pocket. And again, big chance now. He's taking his time. He doesn't have to necessarily go for this either.
That's a loose one from David. It was a little bit unfortunate to come to the table without an open pot on, but he had some safety options there, and he didn't hit a particularly good one. He could have tried to get the white across to the right-hand side where he had huge margin. This shot is on to the top right corner.
Oh, what a shot. Oh, Dave's annoyed with himself.
That's some pot, isn't it? That really is. And I spoke a minute ago about short memories from mistakes. Marc hasn't given his mistake earlier on in the frame a second thought, comes to the table and pulls out an absolutely blinding pot to win the frame.
This is Dave's profile, 26-year-olds. Good junior record as well, as he makes a transition into the senior game, or he has been for a little while. He's going to get a little bit unlucky again with the break. Is he? No, the red's going to drop. Which he'll be delighted with. But he was rushed on the first shot.
He's looking a fraction rattled with the mistake he made in the previous frame. The frustration was there for us all to see when he came to the table. Stopped the white from flying around the table after Marc's pot. Just trying to get going again, and that pot there just looked a little rash, a little bit quick queuing.
I think it was a little bit as well of shot clock pressure in the last frame when he was trying to lay his snooker. A little bit unsure what to do, didn't have an obvious pot, thought, okay, right, I've got this snooker. Played it with a couple of seconds left on the clock, rushed it a little bit, I felt. If you gave him unlimited time, he'd lay that snooker 10 times out of 10.
I just think the way he went for the snooker was risky. He went for the snooker in a way that if he gets it right, it's a really good snooker and a tough ball to hit. But if he gets it wrong, he was going to leave. Okay, it was a tough shot, but he was going to leave his shot. He could have got the white across to the right-hand side of the table, where he was anywhere in the bottom right corner of the table. He was guaranteed a snooker, and okay, it would have been a fairly easy hit for Marc. But when you have only got 15 seconds out there, sometimes just take the easy shot.
Marc's got himself another difficult one hit. Long yellow is the only thing he's got on.
Awkward queuing as well.
And not there. This set is very much still alive here. David McNamara. Just feel like he needs another frame in his back pocket to just set them down a touch.
Key here, obviously, is the black. Doesn't go to the top left corner, top right corner if we look from the overhead. Fairly simple solution would be the red on that left-hand cushion. You need to play this off the yellow. That's what he's lining up now, just to clear that pocket out. There's actually a high chance that the yellow's going to come into the black, but it should clear everything out. I say it should, it hasn't. Although he has second prize, he has an angle here where he can stun across, try and catch the black full. That's lovely control.
Played that really nicely, yeah.
It's a little tighter from the overhead than it first looked, getting to that potting angle. I think he's okay.
This is thin. Oh, good shot. Really good clearance that from David McNamara. He played a couple of really good shots without really getting the reward that he probably deserved. And that's a really precise shot to be able to get that one into the top corner. He is a really good player. As we mentioned, really good junior records, and he was the IPA amateur champ in the English competition last year. He's got some decent practice to his name as well. He's a very, very handy cricketer in his spare time. Loves his football too, big Liverpool fan.
Marc Farnsworth to break, leading 3 frames.
He's had a very, very good last few weeks, safe to say.
Oh, I'm sure he's enjoyed the football over the last, couple of last season, at least.
It's another great break from Marc, you know. He really is breaking well.
I was just thinking, people say that Marc Farnsworth doesn't have a particularly good break. I need to watch the way he started this match. I think one of the things that's helped Marc with his break over the years is that the quality of the cloths that we play on, quality of the tables that we play on, perfect conditions out there, it makes breaking a little bit easier.
Minutes, a little bit less now left of this first set. 3-2. Still plenty of time left here for a few more frames, if required. David McNamara by no means gone in this set, even if Marc were to clear up here. It's one of the big things with having tied sets.
normally race to 5, you'd be thinking I've got to win the next 3 frames. It's not the case. David would have to win if Marc was to clear up, David would have to win the next 2 frames to get to 4-4. Be enough for half a point.
Which has, of course, introduced the idea of a tied match, which absolutely is possible. We haven't seen one yet in the Super Series.
Still think we will. We're running out of matches, but I still think we will.
In the event of a tied match, incidentally, as we see Marc go 4-2 up in this first set, we'll have a tiebreaker. You see the circle there just above the balk line. That is the spot for the white. The black ball goes on its spot, and we go sudden death. This is the state of play currently in the Super Series. We confirmed our first semi-final last night as Gareth Hibbert got through against John McAllister in a stunning performance. He'll take on Sean Storey. And then Alex O'Donoghue awaits the winner of this one.
Frame 7, David
Alex
McNamara
putting in a
to break,
brilliant
24
performance
frames to 2.
against Jordan
Time
Shepherd. It's not the favourite out of the competition. And again, he's been unlucky on his break there. If you analyse the splits, so precious little difference between the 2 breaks and how they're striking them, but the difference is days are going dry and Marcs are finding pockets.
I'd say there's probably not quite as much power coming off of David's cue right now, but there is very little in it, and that is the fine line with the break. Red to the bottom left, it goes past the yellow. Tough bit of cueing, but if this goes in, the rest of the work looks fairly simple for a player of Marc's ability. So this is, I wouldn't say it's set ball, but it's going to go a long way towards it. He's probably just let the white drift an inch further down the table than's ideal. Probably just about straight enough to hold the white. He just had a little bit too much angle for perfect position. Now the yellow towards the bottom left-hand corner pocket becomes a little bit of a problem. Gets in the way for position. And it got in the way. That was in his mind. And that's forced the missed pot.
3 minutes left. Dave needs 2 frames rather, to tie the set. It's very much on.
It is.
And he doesn't necessarily need to fly at these, just to make sure.
He doesn't, but I was just going to raise the point that it is going to be Marc Farnsworth's break next. So the quicker he can clear these up, the more chance he's going to have off Marc's break, because Marc's been breaking well and making a ball, and if he does that in the next frame, Marc can kill a little bit of time. Oh, where's the white? Where's the white? He's okay. Just for a second, he stopped in his tracks.
Yeah, this is going to go 4-3. With a couple of minutes left. It's not all over yet. David McNamara snatches the chalk off the table. Over to you, he says.
Just over 2 minutes. We're going to see the balls racked up by Donna, and the clock does not stop, and that puts Donna under pressure. And then it's going to be Marc's break, and he'll probably use a lot of his 15 seconds on the break as well. So if it comes up dry, David McNamara may have a minute, but he won't have much more.
We know it's possible.
We certainly do.
We've seen it.
There we go, 1 minute 40 left. Well, to his credit, Marc's not really thinking about the shot clock, although he's going to use it pretty much anyway.
He has fully broke as well, which, I mean, from a personal perspective, good to see. Because he's hit a ball. And quite often so far in this exact scenario, which has been fairly common, happens fairly regularly, we have seen players take some pace off the break. Oh, that was close.
That was as close as we've seen, I think.
David had a little look around the corner at Donna just to see if she was going to call it. It was a little bit on the edge. But it's just about all right. But as I was saying, we've seen quite a few players take some pace off the break just to just to slow it down and make a clearance impossible. But fair play to Marc for going for it, because if he hadn't made a ball there, these, as you can see, are pretty open.
Yeah, I was chatting to Gareth Hibbert once we came off air last night about this exact situation, because he felt that he had a couple of opportunities to do it and probably knows that the right thing to do is to tap break, as do some of the other players, but then they think that for the good of the game they don't like seeing that tap break, and they want to break normally. So what we've seen a couple of times, I think Jordan Shepherd did it, is you sort of half hit the pack, which actually is doing neither. I think you should probably just break normally.
Well, Marc's gone about these cleverly, because he's left his hardest balls till last. Doesn't need to pot them. The attempted double goes wide. He won't mind that too much. The clock will stop, and Marc Farnsworth will claim the first set of the match. It's 1-0 to Marc Farnsworth. Set 2 coming up after the break. And welcome back to the Super Series here on Free Sports. Set 1 down of our final quarter-final, as David McNamara takes on Marc Farnsworth. It is Marc Farnsworth who took the opening set of this match, but one that could have, in the end, gone either way, Simon.
A couple of really pivotal moments in the middle of that set, some mistakes that we didn't see in the first round from Marc, just early in that set, that David had a couple of chances he probably wasn't expecting, and he didn't make the most of it, and that was probably the difference in the set. And yeah, it's not good signs for David. He needs to really punish those mistakes if he wants to go and push Marc in this match.
Yeah, Marc breaking really well at the moment. And that's another one.
Time out.
Chalk that one up. Have a look at that.
Time out.
All these reds are as good as gimmies here. If Marc can keep his cue ball control well, and I say if, as if I don't fully expect him to do so. This is as routine as it should get for Marc here, a player of his massive quality.
It's just a natural pattern. Just work his way around the table. Just has to guard against hitting a yellow on the way up the table. Anywhere in the middle of the table is good. Perfect. Just think if a player like Marc comes into a match, he knows that he's a favourite for the match, even if it is a tough match. So you're going to be a bit more on edge, and he's been allowed to settle with the way that first set went.
Well, we talked about the key moments in set number 1. This was the moment we were talking about, Simon. This is the shot from David. We just came to the table after an unexpected error from Marc, and this was a snooker who tried to lay. Didn't work. But even at this instance, this is some pot to recover. Not to recover, but to go on and win the frame, rather.
It is
exceptional.
It is, and I just look at that shot, and I think David could have hidden the white in an easier way to the bottom left-hand corner of the table as we worked from the overhead, and Marc was more than happy to have a go at that black, as tough as it was. And that was the difference between 2-2 and 3-1 to Marc, and that's huge in these short races to 5. Oh, the black's close.
Oh, look at that, 1-1. Unbelievable. Well, he's been saying he's been getting the black on the move in a lot of practice breaks, but that's I mean, that's one way to pot the black. He did it with the white as well.
Yeah, and you heard him there. He said, and that wasn't from the side break. He was practicing the side break, getting the black in motion before the match, and then he goes to the front ball break, and the black flies in, and that's a quick way to win a frame.
Yeah, wasn't it just? These are Marc's recent tournament highlights, and they are not bad going. You go all the way back there to 2017, semi-finals, quarter-finals, and finals galore, really.
Third frame,
There's quite a bit missing from that as well, just because he couldn't fit it in. He's a prolific late tournament player. Gets to the stage where you look at the quarter-final draw and you're surprised if he's not in it. That's been the level that he's been playing at for the last few years. Oh, and well, Is this set about to change momentum a touch? Mark there.
Time running.
It's a good break. As soon as the white goes near the corner pocket, you're dancing with the devil, and it's been kicked in. A chance here for David to arrest some of the momentum. Great opportunity, this.
It's massive, and there's very little work. It really isn't. I'd love to build some drama in this finish and say that he has to do this or do that, but he just has to absolutely just keep himself out of trouble. I think he has to take the yellow furthest up the table into the middle pocket before the one just below it. That shouldn't be a problem. Said he has to keep himself out of trouble. That's all he has to do, and he's gone into trouble. If he can't see either of these yellows to the right centre, he has put himself into huge pressure where he didn't need it. Has to swerve. Oh, that's he's going to be as frustrated with that as anything else he's done in the match so far, especially when you consider this is coming off a golden break.
And ironically, he's actually in the end over swerved it. If he'd caught it a bit thinner, it'd have dropped in.
Tough shots to control. He knows the mistake wasn't the swerve, it was the position onto it. He knows that. Making pretty light work of this counter finish. I know I've talked about it a lot in the build up to this match, but it really is true. You have to punish your opponents when they make a mistake. And okay, it wasn't a mistake this time from Marc, but it was a chance to hurt him. Golden break followed by a clearance from the foul break from Marc.
And one thing that Marc does do fantastically well is he seldom doesn't allow those mistakes to be unpunished by himself. This is Dave's recent tournament highlights. He has a victory over the awaiting semi-finalist Alex O'Donoghue in the English Amateur Championships last year. Got to the semi-final of the International Open where he was beaten by John McAllister. Not a regular on the tour by any means, still an amateur player, but well known amongst players as a very dangerous opponent.
David McNamara to break, trading 2 frames to 1 in one section. Time running.
He's capable of beating anybody in the world. He knows that, and the people he's playing against know that as well. But you have to do that. You have to just be a little bit more clinical than he's been so far tonight.
Again, not quite sure how that ended up dry, but it sure has. Marc Farnsworth, who should have been 2-1 down, is now 2-1 up and looking at a potential reverse dish. He's going to leave the table open with that shot, so he's still got options available.
It's a rule that a lot of people don't notice, and it gets missed from time to time. Certainly players playing at home, if it's an open table, when you come to the table you can play one colour set and pot the other to go that colour set. I think the yellow goes through the gap of the reds. And if that's the case, he's in absolutely prime position. It's tight.
It is.
It does go, but it's he has other options. Possibly a little bit of a reroute going on, which is why he's taken a few extra seconds on this shot, using his full clock just to work out his full pattern. Or rework out his full pattern, I should say.
The last couple of frames have really been Marc at his mercurial best, really clinical. I mentioned this a fair bit, but it's the mark of his qualities that he seldom has to play a decent shot, if that makes sense. Doesn't have to play a difficult one very often. He has run slightly iffy on this back. This is not as easy as it could have been, but he makes it comfortably. I mentioned these middle pockets playing a little bit tighter than what he might be used to, so he has to put it right in the heart of the pocket. Not a problem.
Not a problem at all for Marc Farnsworth. Very good visit to the table.
And the winner of this one will be in action tomorrow. Alex O'Donoghue awaits the winner in the Super Series semi-final. That is coming up for you tomorrow at 6 PM, same time, same place. Who will be meeting Alex in the semi. Following us on Freesports tonight, the NHL is coming back as live hockey makes its way back onto our screens on Freesports. Pittsburgh Penguins are at the Philadelphia Flyers. Well, they're not really, because it's been played in Toronto. But for posterity, Si. You're a hockey fan? I know you like your American sports.
I am. I'm more now that I've seen it live. It was one of those sports that once I got to see it live and see how quick it is, and I was fortunate enough to be in Belfast watching some ice hockey, and I stood right behind the goal as they're warming up, and that puck moves very quickly, and I absolutely love it now. Another brilliant break from Marc. He's really catching that break as well as he can. He's generating a lot of power and getting some good splits. Just the one break that has gone wrong for him so far, and that was because the white got kicked in off. Positional shot slightly tricky. I'd love to just be able to drop this in and take the red into the centre. He may still try and do that and take the red into the corner instead. Tries to move the white a bit further, make it as easy as possible from here.
I don't know if he's taken it quite far enough.
Yeah, I agree.
A little bit tricky, this.
He'd love that to have gone another 2 rolls or stop, say 2 or 3 rolls short. That's in the middle really of being ideal, and you see how much right hand side he had to play that shot with. That was a lot trickier than it needed to be.
Just half a ball, and that really is all the difference at times. Marc looked totally in command of that frame. And now David with a chance to win it. This is not the easiest of clearances. He has got some work to do. Those 2 yellows at the top of the table are a problem that needs solving.
See Marc as well, held his hand up as he walked away from the table. He knocked those 2 yellows safe. If he doesn't catch the yellows and they're wide open, this is a lot more routine.
Just having a look at it now.
I think his plan was to come a lot higher up the table to make the snooker really easy. Now he's in a position where the snooker is actually a delicate one, and he played a similar one in the first set and it cost him. He's being more aggressive this time.
Oh, love to see it, Deej. I did wonder if he was eyeing at the double when I saw him looking at the bottom ball, and he is such an aggressive player by nature. But he's had a couple of moments like this already in the match where he's played one good shot and followed up by a bad one. Needs to take this out now. It's still not easy. Still got a couple of good pots to go. That was a great shot. And that's not bad either.
Looks like he's going to up the aggression and really try and grab this match by the scruff of the neck, really get himself going.
We saw that in his first round match, didn't we? You know, sometimes he's almost forced to play good shots by a loose positional shot. And one of the shots of the tournament where he played the black in off the bottom cushion, which was caused by a loose positional shot. This is a little bit tricky. He's played it really, really well. White's fine. It's fine, Simon, it's fine.
Just for a second, I saw that coming off the second cushion and I feared for David, but that's a very good visit, probably his best visit to the table of the night, and almost got the bit between his teeth there. You can see him waiting to break off in the next frame. He wants to make this happen.
Yeah, big frame for him to win, and he has the break next as well. To complete our semi-final lineup.
Frame 6, David
Gareth Hibbert
McNamara
versus
break.
Sean Storey coming up
3
on
frames to 2,
Thursday.
1 set to 0. Time running.
Well, I tell you what, he's abandoned all ideas of the cut break and playing it delicately. He's just hammered that old school.
Really gone for that break. Got the split he deserved. Cracking break.
And there's a long, long way to go in this set as well. The 15-second shot clock now in operation. So it means a full quarter of an hour. We're already 5 frames down. It's flown through this set, helped of course by the golden break.
He's slightly annoyed with that one. Wanted to be straight on the red to the top right corner. Just underhit it. Change of plan here. He'll go up for it into the centre pocket now. Which is no problem.
Cued it really well, actually.
Slightly delicate shot required here. The natural angle's going into the red on the bottom cushion, and if you screw across it, it's easy to go near the opposite corner. So he's played into it. He played that quite nicely, although this is now a tough pot along the cushion.
Cued it really nicely. Lovely work. And we're about to go all square. 3 apiece, and still with plenty of time on the clock. It is going to be a race to 5, old school, this one. We'll take a look at Marc Farnsworth's recent tournament history. So all of his recent events in the last year or so, really. The biggest sort of shock on that one was his performance at the World Championships this year, Simon, which I know would have really annoyed him as the defending champion, no less.
I think he'll be disappointed if he looks at that list there. You know, he's Marc Farnsworth, he's a great player, and he'll look at that list and think that's probably not his best record. He's a player that very rarely loses early in a tournament. As you said earlier on, he's a quarter-final, semi-final, final. He's there or thereabouts every event. Just in the last 18 months or so, the consistency has dipped off a little bit. I think I have a bit of a theory with that one. Tour events are played sort of 20 table setups, and if he's on the match table, he normally pulls out a brilliant performance and invariably wins. When he's out in the outer arena and he's got to fight amongst the other 19 tables, it can get a bit tight out there. I don't think he's quite got the same level of concentration, probably because he has achieved so much in the game. Hard to get himself up for it in the same way. Only he can really answer that.
And he's made a mistake early on in this one. It wasn't an easy layout, and again, I think whilst it wasn't a shot clock error, it felt like he was running the shot clock a little bit tight. Wasn't wholly comfortable, I don't think. Oh, that was in and out. That was in and out.
First time we've seen this in the event. Something we do see on a pool table from time to time, but first one we have seen in this event. So unfortunate.
Mark knows he's got away with that. There you go, Si. Most annoying thing you can probably see on a pool table.
Yeah, and actually, in a weird way, he's actually been a little bit unlucky. Well, he's been very unlucky because of the bounce out, but he's also been a little bit lucky that he didn't make the skill shot element of the shot either. Not that he'll be thinking about that if Marc Farnsworth clears up here.
Very true. It can happen. It used to be a bit more common. Actually, I think it's the first one I can remember in this tournament. It's just it's a real blow, isn't it? Because he's put that right in the heart of the pocket.
Absolutely, and it's one of those things we've seen a lot of. I actually spoke to one of the table manufacturers 3-4 months ago about this exact thing, and it's something they've been working on, trying to figure out why it's happening. And I think there's a combination of things. I think we're using a different style of ball than we used to use years. Oh, where's the white?
Where's the yellow
as well?
Well, it's no surprise to see Dave McNamara out of his chair like a jumping jack.
Yeah, just quickly finish off on that. I think we're using finer cloths than we've ever used before. We're using slightly different types of balls than we used to use years ago, and I think a combination of things with the tables as they're currently set up, every now and then we're going to get one of those bounce outs. It's infuriating for the players. The table manufacturers are aware of it. They would love to do something about it, but it's not as simple as it sounds to change.
They'll be so pleased to get that one back.
This is a massive moment in this set, isn't it? That missed pot to the centre. This frame has had a couple of bits and pieces in it that have been huge.
Caught that a little bit thin, I think, but he's all right. For 4-3. One away, Dave McNamara from the second set here. It's a big, big frame to win, you feel. And he's breaking next as well. See his recent tournament history. He has been more active on the tour this year. He's a relatively new amateur and some really tough opponents on there.
He's actually he's been a player that's been on the tour, fought his way through the amateur rankings to turn professional, and then dropped off the tour again, and then rejoined the tour. And he's back doing good things, and really starting to progress through the ranks.
A massive break. Dave once again, he's starting to hit these really nicely. His last couple have been very impressive. Red's the selection. And he is one frame away, tying things up at a set apiece. It's been a fallible sort of performance from Marc Farnsworth so far.
He really wants to be able to take the bottom red first. Sorry, just think, looking at the layout of the table, the two reds that towards the bottom right are a problem. Just about get through, but couldn't. Yeah, you see he was putting a lot of left-hand side on that, trying to get the white to the right-hand side to be able to play this into the middle pocket. He still can pot it in there from here, but this is tough. This is very tough.
It's not a bad effort.
How close.
He is close.
I thought that was in when he hit it. I suspect he did too.
Now then, Marc Farnsworth can square things up at 4 apiece. We all have a decider.
Not sure if he's landed on the yellow to the top left or not. Red might be in the way. If not, he'd probably be forced into a double or a snooker. It is the snooker. Similar shot played by David McNamara in the first set, and he got it all wrong. Slightly easier this time for Marc Farnsworth, but he gets it all right. Pretty simple hit here for McNamara, but he wants to try and make the ball as well. Well, he hasn't fouled, so at least you're going to make Marc Farnsworth work for this clearance. Doesn't need to rush these. The set clock is not a factor. 6 minutes 20 left. At 15 seconds a shot. There really is no consideration to the set clock in this visit at all.
He threaded the needle a couple of times there. Comes out perfect on this top yellow. Now this is a potting drill.
Nice little bit of help. The fact that top one went just made the route just that fraction easier.
To take us to a decider in the second set, Marc Farnsworth polishes it up. It's been such an interesting set this so far, it really has. Had a bit of everything. A golden break, big misses. Really has twisted and turned. Marc Farnsworth, no stranger to an epic. You can see there, the world champions on a roll for the last 7 years or so. Marc Farnsworth's victory over Tom Cousins was the definition of an epic. 4-3 winner, and all the way. And he has the break here to take the decider in this one. Oh, well then, is it going to come up dry? No, the last ball on the move drops. Thought for all the world as if he was going to come up dry here, Marc, but just creeping in. And he looks all right as well.
David McNamara will be starting to fear the worst, looking at the table, trying to work out what is his chances of getting to the table in this frame. Well, there's yellow on the top rail that is tricky to land on. It's very tricky to land on nicely. And so much so, Marc Farnsworth is going to play safe. Yellows are in a dominant position here. Reds are worse in a couple of areas. But McNamara will just be happy that he's coming to the table in this frame. He'd rather have got that red a little bit closer to the pocket. Marc can play this onto the jaw and bump that red. It just puts him even further ahead. And I have to say that as a covering the pocket shot is brilliant, because he can still pop the yellow, but he's blocking the red. Sometimes when you play that shot, you get the yellow too close to the red, and there's nothing you can do. Or you can't pop the yellow as well as the red. But he's played that so nicely.
And you mentioned that the clock wouldn't be a factor, Simon, but at this stage it actually could be.
Yeah, there's still time to make sure. If you're in Marc Farnsworth's shoes here, you are waiting for the right opportunity to go for it. And he still has enough time. What's he going to need to be able to clear the table? Let's say 10 seconds a shot. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yellows and a black. So he needs a minute to clear the table, give or take. He could do it a little bit quicker if he needed to. So he's got maybe a minute and a half to develop these. I don't think there's much thought from David McNamara of trying to earn an opportunity, because the minute he tries to do that, he's potentially giving away the set.
Oh, I don't believe that.
Two in the space of 5 minutes is incredible for David McNamara. That really is.
Oh, that's horrible.
Oh, that really is horrible.
We've not seen one all tournament on this table. And then we've seen two in the space of a couple of frames, and that's unfortunate, because that now is going to hand Marc the opportunity to go game.
It's one of the more pivotal bounce outs I've ever seen as well. Although, slight grimace from Marc Farnsworth there, hasn't landed on the yellow to the bottom left. And he's just come up thin on this one to the bottom right. So this next positional shot is very difficult. So much so he may actually take the yellow now to the bottom left corner. Yeah, he's going to, just walking around to check out the potting angle.
And it's not there. 1:24 on the clock.
He'll be so annoyed with himself. He was half a roll from having it as an absolutely simple ABC finish. Half a roll away from winning the set. And now David McNamara has a chance.
It really has been the set that's had it all. Marc Farnsworth takes a seat. At this point, his chance might have gone. He might just be hoping that Dave either runs out of time or misses. This could be the key shot.
David McNamara's got to be careful here. I know he's trying to race through the finish, but he's still odds against making this clearance. That red at the top of the table, it does not pass the yellow. So how does he land on it? And if he doesn't land on it and he has to play a big double or something like that, there is enough time for Marc to come to the table and pop the final 2 balls. This is an incredible finish to the set.
He's gone for the skill shot. He needs it to drop.
Oh, that's...
It hasn't. Is he going to get lucky and cover the black? No. And this is such drama. Marc Farnsworth has snatched the set away. Would you believe it?
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible.
2-0 Marc Farnsworth. And it could so easily be 1-1. It could so easily be split. And each player halving it. But Dave McNamara decided to go for it. And in doing so, might have cost himself the set. He might have cost himself a lot more than that. What a climax. Set number 3 is coming up next. Welcome back to the Super Series pool here on Free Sports. We've just about got our breath back in the studio. That was an electrifying end to the second set. Simon, we got to break this down before we move on here. That was a crazy ending. You know, we've had 2 bounce outs of Dave McNamara, multiple misses from either side. It's 4-4. There's seconds remaining. Dave McNamara has a chance to clear when Marc misses the pot. What's he got to look at here? What does he decide to do, and then what could he have decided to do?
Well, we've paused this about halfway through his visit, and you look at the table now and forget about the clock, and you look at it and you go, what is his chances of clearing up reds here? And they are slim to none, really. They are it's so difficult. The red at the top of the table does not go to the top left. He can't pop this and land nicely on his next ball. And then you consider the fact, does he have to think about a safety shot, maybe think about drawing the set? All that's in his mind here as we play this through is trying to clear up to win the set. He's not thinking about anything else. And he actually ends up putting himself into a position where he has to take on a kamikaze shot, really, that it ends up costing him the set. He just had to accept poor position on that last one, and he's hoping for a good angle here to try and do something, and he lands almost straight. And even now, there's still 30 seconds left. He could use up his full 15 seconds in that situation. He could then use up 15 seconds on the next shot. And Marc wouldn't have the time on the table to pot 2 balls, so he gets out of it with a tied set. But he chooses to be more aggressive, and it goes wrong. Even if he hadn't have potted the yellow in that situation, Marc would have been under pressure to pot 2 balls in 10 seconds. So it's tough for Dave, and we're being ultra critical, but you know, that maybe he could have used the shot clock to his advantage, got out of there with half a point, and then he's only 1 set behind rather than being 2 sets behind. But we really are being ultra critical.
And how much do you think mentally the bounce outs that he had, having 2 in the space of a couple of frames there, play into that? Because it felt like, you know, everything that could have gone against David there did towards the end of that one. He felt like he did an awful lot right to then not get a lot of reward.
The second one especially. The first one was hard to take. The second one, it looked like it gifted Marc Farnsworth just a golden opportunity to win the set. And actually Marc played a loose positional shot that allowed David back into the table. But yeah, his mind would have been a little bit scrambled there, and he would have just been coming to the table thinking, I've got a minute to clear these up, I've got to find a way to clear these up. But it wasn't like he was 4-3 behind trying to clear those up. He was 4-all at that point. I think, you know, maybe you have to just think about that in a slightly different way. It's so hard out there, though. The set pressure, the clock there, the time on that set, just it puts you under extreme pressure. You don't have time to think out there. and his natural reaction was just to try and clear up as quickly as possible.
And that is his game. He is a hyper-aggressive player. He will take it on if it's there. And that's why we love watching him. And it almost goes without saying at this point, if David McNamara comes back to challenge in this match, it would be an unbelievable comeback. But he started well, and this hopefully should settle him down, because I think the worst thing that could have happened was he broke dry and Marc reverse dish, and then all of a sudden you're starting to fear for him a little bit. But this has been a really good break so far. Just needs to make sure of these last 3 balls and almost keep afloat, keep treading water at least for now, and try and work his way back into the match.
Remind himself that he's still in this match. Remind himself that he is in a race to 5 here. That nothing else in the match matters right now. It's just this race to 5. It's really, really simple for me to say, incredibly difficult to do. We saw a little bit of this last night. The scoreboard pressure sometimes can take over, going behind. Well, he's done the first thing he had to do, and that's to get off to a good start in this set.
He certainly has. A great start from David McNamara with a break and dish. And I should say there as well, Marc Farnsworth had more missed pots. And that's almost scarcely believable, you know. We think about Marc and his fantastic patterns and his positional play. It's not been as good as we've seen it in this tournament so far. I mean, it was almost perfect in round 1, so it's an impossible standard to try and maintain, I guess. But there has been chances in this game where there wasn't before.
I think that will disappoint David the most, that he knows he's had the opportunities. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that he could be level, if not in front, in this match with the chances that he's had. He just hasn't made the most of them.
And once again, Marc's break yields fruits. It's pretty much the last ball in motion on the table, finding its way into the bottom of the middle pocket. And reds are going to be the call here. Has got a bit of a problem ball. The red above the black doesn't really have an obvious solution to it.
There's nothing particularly close to it either. He may have to accept poor position onto it and back himself to make a difficult pot. There is just about enough room to do that.
Yeah, the ones at the bottom of the table are a bit of a gimme, but the ones in the middle might require a bit of precision.
I think the plan will be pot these 2 at the bottom, and he's going to look to try and land halfway between the two reds, perhaps almost where the yellow is, just at the top of the triangle area. If he can land near that yellow, he'll be close to being on the red to the top left, and then he can play into the yellow with the white and stay on the red to the right centre. It would be a tough pot, but if he lands on it the way he pots so cleanly normally, you'd expect him to make it. It hits the yellow, it's perfect. Oh, it's gone by the yellow.
Well, far from perfect.
Total snooker.
Total snooker called. Now, he had to jam the pot in there. We noticed with the way it barreled off the jaws. Is that what's ended up costing him the right angle into the middle of the table there?
Yeah, he'd have been disappointed with making sure he got out of the shot. Yeah, he didn't have to hit a cushion, of course, because he total snookered. He'll be disappointed with the position he left getting onto the ball that he eventually snookered himself with. He wanted a little bit more angle. In those situations, you want to be able to play at one cushion or just drift up the centre of the table, and then it's just about pace control, and he left himself a lot to do, which is unlike Marc. So having taken the opening frame in this set, great opportunity here to go 2-0 ahead, and this is exactly what McNamara needs.
Oh, I was just thinking that.
That isn't what he needs, though. That's a shot that's gone wrong. Black's gone. Well, it's just making one of the yellows slightly awkward, but he hasn't landed nicely on the next yellow either. Would love to be straight on the yellow to the left centre so he can play on the bad yellow, which is the one just above the left centre pocket. going to be a bit more mileage in the cue ball to make this clearance now. Oh, that's a beautiful shot. That really is.
I tell you what, he's got to give a bit of credit here to Dave for coming out the way he has in this third set. He looks really assured. This is a tough shot, though. He needs to get this right.
It's not easy to land nicely on the last yellow. The natural angle of the white is to come on and off the cushion towards the bottom of the table. He has to create an angle, screw 2 cushions, which meant he wasn't going to be able to get particularly close to the yellow. Goes without saying this is an incredibly tough pot.
Goes without saying that's an incredibly good shot. He'll be a little bit annoyed, back of his mind. Oh, he's queuing okay, it's fine. Thought he might have to queue over the red for a second there, but that should be nice enough. It is indeed 2-0 to David McNamara, and as I mentioned, a lot of credit must go to Dave with how he's approached this third set. It's been so easy with the drama of how that second set ended. For almost have a bit of a heads gone moment, you know. Would have been so understandable.
It's very impressive what he's done at the start of this set. Mentally, to be able to pick yourself up after the way you finished the previous set, to be able to do that and get himself off to a 2-0 lead is very impressive. He now needs to find another break and get himself a 3-0 lead.
These two have met before, as we just saw. Marc Farnsworth taking the win there, 7-3.
I can tell you that David's very aware of that statistic as well. He asked me to ask him about it in the pre-match interview. He said, "Oh, I'll ask Mark about that match last year." So he's very aware. Great break. Good split. 1 yellow to work out. If he goes yellows, which I expect him to do. One yellow that's a problem. It's a difficult one to solve. You don't have to move it. Landing on it isn't easy. He'll want to try and get up there as quickly as possible. He wants to try and get up there whilst the yellow's over the left centre pocket. Well, that's his first go at trying to get there, and this is why I say he wanted to get there whilst the yellow's over the left centre pocket, because he now can give himself a second opportunity, and it's slightly easier to land on it because he's knocked 1 red out the way. It's still not a massive gap. Natural angle this time. It's all about the pace control. Just have to drift into the gap.
It's not a big gap to hit this.
No, just a couple of inches above the bulk line. I wonder if he's considering. Oh, it looks just natural just to drift into the gap. Yeah. Oh, he's well under hit it. Okay, he's still on the next yellow, but now things have got very difficult because he's going to have 1 more chance to land on this ball. Oh, could get a good cannon here. Oh, great cannon. Great shot.
Third time lucky. And it was probably the hardest of the 3.
By far and away the hardest shot of the 3. Had to play that with an awful lot of check side just to straighten the angle up.
Just has to make sure. He's played a really cute shot there. That's good. And in a smidge over 10 minutes, David McNamara is about to make this 3-0 in the third set. Terrific work from David McNamara, and plenty more top pool coming up for you on Free Sports. We've got the semi-finals coming up on Wednesday and Thursday this week, tomorrow and the day after, and then ahead of the final on Tuesday next week we have some money matches for you on Freesports. Peter McCarron takes on Matt Lawrenson for the grand sum of 2,000 big ones.
It's a very different game, the money matches. Looking forward to seeing how that's received on Freesports. Both players putting up £1,000 each, and they'll battle it out.
And then following that one on Monday night, John Roberts and Martin McIntosh battle it out. 5,000 boys on the line there.
It's a lot of money to be putting up to play a game of pool, and it will be a short match by money match terms. We see a lot of money matches up and down the country every weekend. Prior to lockdown, it's become a bit of a staple of the pool world, and it's going to be our first taste of it here on Freesports.
There will be quick fire matches as well, 2 shootout sets, and if it's level we go to a tie break. Would not, speaking from a personal standpoint here, enjoy having a black ball shootout for 5k.
Actually, I think they've decided they're going to go for a one frame shootout, so they'll re-lag after. If they go one set all, they'll re-lag, and the winner will break off for one frame for the money. But normally, normal circumstances, money matches are normally played races to 21, 25, sometimes 30. So it's a very short race by money matches, by money match terms. But it should be an exciting format. Looking forward to seeing how the guys get on. Slightly out of position for Mark. Wanted to be a bit straighter on this yellow. Now he's got an angle where he's going to be cannoning into the other yellow. He might just be able to avoid it, but it's hard to hold on it. He might have to play the delicate cannon.
And he's just, I think, had to accept bad position on this final yellow. I think it squeezes up to the top right. It does. I don't think he's got all the pocket.
With you, I don't think that was the full pocket at all. It's a surprising visit to the table for Mark, because it's come down to his positional play that's let him down. Had a little bit of margin for error to land nicely on the ball to the centre, and just came up short. This is impressive stuff from McNamara. Those 2 breaking dishes to really get him going in this set.
I think he wants to come all the way back
just
to the top
short.
cushion there. It's not quite gone his way, but he's still got a couple of options to get on it. Just has to send the white ball up and down the table, which isn't always ideal. Or he's trying to go the other way. And whilst he's got good white, he's not made the pot. And Mark is back in here. Mark goes for the double and doesn't make it. A let off.
I was just wondering how big that miss could be. We've seen sets turned around before. This time, he's not punished, and his opportunity to go 4-0 up, sorry, is there.
And make no mistake, Simon, that's a double that Mark would have expected to make.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and even more so when it was following a mistake from David. We almost expected McNamara to come into this set rattled, and almost feared that if he got off to a slow start in this set, it could be a quick end to the match. But it's actually been the other way around. Mark's the one that's made a couple of mistakes, and David looks, he's playing like he's 2-0 ahead.
Totally agree. Full credit has to go to David McNamara with how he's taken this set on. 4-0 now. And he's looking in great shape here to take out this 3rd set and take us into a 4th. He does pretty much have to be near perfect from this point onwards, with Mark 2 sets up and only needing 1 more to get his place booked into the semi-final tomorrow. Alex O'Donoghue awaits the winner tomorrow night.
He just has to play it a set at a time, though. He's 4-0 up in a race to 5. Assuming he wins this one, he's just in another race to 5. It's one of the things I love about set play. does allow turnarounds in matches.
I just starting to get the run of the ball as well, because I couldn't tell you how that white has not ended up in that corner pocket. And to be totally fair to him, in plenty of instances in this match, he's not had the run of the balls. He's had a couple of bounce outs. The breaks have been good, but not yielding results. Momentum is a funny old thing in this game. And it's all with the man at the table right now.
No question. Short pace. Well, I say short pace, he may well have been playing for this red to the top left. He's certainly going to take it now. Great shot. He's found a bit of a bounce in this step, hasn't he? He really has.
We saw this in his first round match, didn't we? Almost had a patch where he looked like the best player in the world and he couldn't miss a thing. As purple patches go, I just remember it being tremendous. He was potting everything from all angles, and he's fully capable of doing that. He's been really enjoying the fact that he's been able to get back into practicing a bit more at the local clubs that he enjoys so much. Oh no!
Wow.
Oh well, that's a shocker, and he knows that.
Well, I see this again. He's missed it by so far. I'm going to wonder whether he had like almost a skiddy little kick on that one. I just can't believe he's missed it by that distance. Difficult to tell on replay whether that happened or not, but his reaction and the way he missed it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. He'll certainly know.
Well, Mark didn't ask for the cue ball to be cleaned when he came to the table, which sometimes can be a bit of an indication.
Let's just watch this one again. He does. I think he does catch it thick. I'm not sure whether. I think he gets a kick, but he also catches it thick as well. It's one of those, though, you can accept it a little bit more at 4-0 up, but if Mark wins this one, which it looks like he's going to,
got the break next,
and then gets the break next. If David McNamara's next shot's at 4-2, all of a sudden that last missed pot will be huge.
I wouldn't rule it out. Still well in control of this. So that was a canny little shot actually into the corner. That was a little bit more difficult than I think we both gave it credit from the main shot, but Marc Farnsworth gets on the board in set number 3. It's 4-1. There isn't a huge amount of time remaining if Mark wants to take this all the way, which he'll have to. So that reminder, that is tomorrow's fair on Free Sports. It will be one of these two versus Alex O'Donoghue for a spot in the Super Series Grand Final.
Frame 6, Marc Farnsworth to break, trailing 4 frames to 1 and leading 2 sets to 0.
I wonder if Alex is at home watching this, checking out who he's going to be playing tomorrow. He's already knocked out the favourite for the event, so he won't care.
And Mark's probably hit his best break of the match here. Certainly up there. He's breaking really well in the first set. This is as good as, if not a little bit better. He's really creamed that one. And it would be very Marc Farnsworthy to make this set interesting, having been 4-0 down and looking gone.
It's what great champions do. Put you under pressure, punish the mistakes, make you earn it. That was a better shot than Mark made it look.
I was just thinking that he played that absolutely millimetre perfect, and that was tight. And then to get the positioning absolutely spot on, beautifully done. I said it was a good break. I don't know if it was as good as Mark's making it look. This has been supreme from Marc Farnsworth. This.
Mark could have played this visit with a 5-second shot clock, let alone a 15-second shot clock.
Goodness me, 4-2 in next to no time from Marc Farnsworth. And all of a sudden, after missing one pot, David McNamara comes back to the table with a 2-frame cushion rather than a 4-frame cushion, or even a 1 set on the board.
There's pressure on this next break. There is big pressure on this next break. David McNamara knows if he breaks dry here, next time he touches the table, it could be 4-4.
Frame 7, David McNamara to break, leading 4 frames.
He shouldn't be thinking that right now. He should be thinking about making a ball, getting a chance and wrapping this set up. Oh, is he going to... No, he's dry. The momentum in pool is just incredible at times. I mean, look at that break. He's got so many balls flying into the top half and back out.
I mean, pretty much over 3/4 of the table, ball-wise, is in the top half. He's really hit that well. And these reds need a little bit of solving. You can see the red there in between the 2 yellows. Doesn't have an obvious home.
Cracking first shot from Marc, good vision. He was purposely playing it the way he did to try and open up the balls at the top right-hand corner of the table, as well as one he made. Is he going to get? Not a good one. I wanted to slide by that red. If he slides by it, he's on the red to the left centre, he's got the red to the right centre, and all of a sudden it looks pretty simple. From here, he's odds against. He's looking for the double through the gap. Well, he's on it.
If he makes it, it opens the frame right up. Doesn't.
He missed his last double on the bottom jaw. This time he's on the top jaw.
And that's the problem with your opponent getting to 4 frames in next to no time. Yes, Marc got himself back into this set, but he had to be perfect. And that missed shot could well be the last one he plays in this set. It should be. That's what David McNamara will try to ensure.
One good positional shot and pop down the cushion away from this clearance.
He's got a good angle to get on it here. He's just electing to clear that yellow away. It's a good shot in the end.
2 straight to land on the yellow to the top left next. Oh, he's tried to off the top cushion and he's come up a long way short and he's not landed on anything else. So all of a sudden, this is tricky. I think he's still going to have to take this cut on. He may play it as a double. That's the cut. Great pot and great position. Excellent.
That's a brilliant recovery shot. And he's now back on track.
Natural angle's going close to the black and he wants to avoid it. Oh, he's avoided it, but he's probably played that with just a tracer check side and it's killed the white off the cushion, and all of a sudden he's back in trouble again. Tough pot, position's even harder. Unless you play it like that. Oh.
Well, the hand up tells you he didn't mean that. But as I say, the momentum just seems to have turned in this set. David McNamara got no luck at all in set number 2, and he got a little bit of run of the ball in set number 3. It's 2-1. Deej is still alive. Set 4 comes next. Welcome back to the quarterfinals of the Super Series pool. Dave McNamara and Marc Farnsworth are giving us a really interesting game here. The second set was incredibly tight, could have gone either way, should have potentially gone another way to where it did end up. But a great recovery from Dave McNamara in set number 3 there, Simon. An authoritative performance from Deej to get himself back into the match. Full credit.
Yeah, very impressed with David in that last set. He mentally, to be able to recover from the way set 2 went, to be able to make that to win that set was just very, very impressive. And even actually coming back from making a mistake, he should have won the set 5-0. Made a mistake, but didn't let that affect him. Came back, that clearance to win at the end was fantastic.
Yeah, we should say as well, apologies to those Free Sports viewers who might have missed the end of the last set. We were cut out due to a little bit of an early satellite pull, I'm told. Sorry about that, but Deej did take it out. And took it out very, very well indeed. And Marc opens up set number 4 with another break that has a ball just tickling right at the end of it. He's had a few of these. Last ball in motion, he won't mind that, although this is a slightly difficult table he's come to. It's less difficult now.
Yeah, less difficult now. The last ball rolling, it's painful as an opponent. You're sat there going, oh, I might get a chance here, I might get a chance. Oh no, the last ball rolling's dropped in. Good shot to develop things, but it's not come out perfectly. Don't think he could quite. Well, he could just about drop the one he's next to in, but he wasn't going to land nicely on the next ball. And coming down the table first. Not sure if there's enough room to pop this or whether it's just a safety. It is just a safety. He does not want that to drop in.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Time out, please. Total snooker. Time running.
Snookered himself.
Can you possibly get the scoreboard changed in there, please?
Puts himself into trouble here, even if he gets out of it. Be a good chance for David McNamara. The one thing you've got to do is just make sure. Don't want to give McNamara any extra chance of clearing up, a free shot to develop things, so he's done that. And there is still some work there for McNamara. The two yellows on the right hand side, they're awkward. I think the yellow just below the red, I don't think that goes. This is tight. Looks like he's played on it, so I'm guessing it does go.
Just squeezed by the red, didn't it? These two yellows on the cushion are what's giving him a little bit of a headache right now. It's not easy, and we have seen David get himself into a little bit of trouble and chasing a finish already in this match. Is he going to come out all right? Can't hit either of the yellows on the right of the table. Has he got an out at the bottom?
Don't think he can pot anything, but he can gain some control in the safety shot. I think there's a margin of error to play behind the black and yellow. Has he just landed? Don't think he has.
I think the middle red goes up to the top left here.
If not the middle, then the one on the rail. Mark may just be considering whether he takes it on or not. I think he was just coming around to see what sort of shot he would leave if he just played a safety shot, but I think he'd leave a double on, so had to play the pot, and what a great pot it is. That's twice in this match that McNamara has played that sort of shot, and he hasn't landed. And Mark's come to the table and made a brilliant pot.
Yeah, that was superb. And the positioning of it was absolutely impeccable as well, which made it all the more impressive. A really good clean-up in the end from Marc Farnsworth, who ran aground in this opening frame with the fourth set. But that was excellent. It's been such a good game. It really has had a little bit of everything so far.
Look at those stats there for Marc Farnsworth on the break. And people talk about his break a lot, about how it lets him down. And look at the break. 13 breaks, 12 times he's made a ball. And the only time he hasn't played the next shot after his break was when it got kicked in off into the corner. So his break really is working well tonight.
You could argue it's the main difference between the two players. You know, they both have the same number of missed pots, similar number of chances. I think if Dave's break was working as it has here all match, it could well be a very, very different story. Because he's hammered the break there, he's come out with a beautiful split. Just has to mind his work here, because one of those where I think he probably could have taken either colour set if you really wanted to. That's where the easier choice.
Best break of the night, without a doubt. Best split he's had of the night. of those splits where Marc would have seen the split and chalked it up to Deej already.
Little bit undercooked on his final positional shot, but it shouldn't create too much of a problem here. This to go square things up in set 4 for David McNamara. Easy does it. And it's having been at one stage when we got to the end of the second set, we thought this man might be running away with it. It's full credit to David McNamara that he's ground his way back into this match. Marc Farnsworth, formidable opponent. See his profile. Big fan of a lot of things. Golf, other pool players, Paul Scholes. Must be the ginger thing, that has to be right.
Third frame, Marc.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's a Man United fan and not a Sunderland fan from Sunderland. But there you go.
We've got a couple of things to ask him when you next see him.
Yeah. May not ask him that one as quickly as the golf, but there you go. It's a good split from Marc, but having just said how well his break's going for him tonight, he comes up dry.
Yeah, only a second dry break of the match. He's been a little lucky, and he didn't leave anything easy for David there. Didn't really have a good opening pot. He'd have hoped to have been a little bit closer on the double than he was. And now it's much more open.
He's got himself back into this match by being aggressive, by trying to make something happen.
Yeah.
And you can't blame him for that. Okay, it looks like he's handed a great opportunity to Marc, but that's how he managed to turn things around.
Yeah, I think whenever Dave's had to play safe and he's had to play a little bit more reserved, it's ended up coming back to bite him. Whenever he's tried to snooker Marc, he hasn't quite got it right, and it's resulted in Marc going on to win the frame. A situation at the end of the second set when it was a bit of a safety battle. I think it's an area that he knows Marc probably has the advantage in, and where Dave's strengths lie is where he takes the game to his opponent. He is aggressive.
I agree, although the way the second set finished up, you could argue he was perhaps just a fraction too aggressive. So it's a fine line at times, and the aggression, when it works, you say, you know, that's because I was aggressive, I was, you know, making it happen on my side of the table. But when it goes wrong, you have to sort of, if you're going to play it that way, you have to accept when it doesn't go well.
Marc's going to possibly look for a little cannon on the yellow here just to hold the white. There it is. And this now should be pretty routine. The yellow hasn't gone on to block the corner pocket, which was anything that could really go wrong with that shot. And this should be 2-1 Farnsworth. Simple. Deej, a fair bit younger than Marc, opposite ends really of their career, and that's not to say one's particularly young or one's particularly old, but they are at the other end of the respective spectrums.
Marc Farnsworth is a senior by Paul terms now, in his 40s. Great amateur, or junior career I should say, for David McNamara. Junior world champion, junior national champion. That's impressive stuff. Shows he can play under extreme pressure.
Loves his cricket as well. See, there was keen to get his best cricketing figures up on the profile.
Pretty sure they're not from the same match, though. That's,
that'd be truly remarkable.
It would be some performance. That'd be
naming the local paper territory.
Yeah, that'd be Ben Stokes-esque.
So yeah, I remember speaking to Dave the last time he was here, and he was frustrated that he couldn't get out and play cricket. That's starting to change now, of course.
So I think he's in between his first round match and this quarter-final. He's actually had a game of cricket. It's definitely starting to change. The local leagues up and down the country now playing. Just get through. Not perfectly. He had to play that with a little bit of side, I think.
Yeah, he was swatted at the ball there, didn't he, rather than cueing it through?
Strange bit of cueing, that one. Hasn't worked out nicely. He's got to come down the table. Tough pot to the bottom left corner and tricky position. Last 3 balls here aren't a natural pattern. Oh, the black. Oh, it stays on the table. He hasn't landed on his next ball.
It's not the end of the frame yet, but he's got to try and leave this in a position where Marc can't restart with a simple gimme clearance, and that's not easy in itself. The hit shouldn't be too difficult, but either making a pot or making it safe is the difficult aspect. Oh, and hitting the jaw will do the opposite of that.
1 free shot, 1 visit. Time running.
Difficult times for McNamara. 2-1 behind already. Chasing a finish there. Great opportunity for Marc Farnsworth to go 3-1 ahead in the set that he needs to win the match. And this was all at a time where David was really riding the momentum. On the last set in fine style. We've seen plenty of drama in this match so far. Lots of little swings of momentum, some strange things happening out there. Marc Farnsworth's side of the table right now, he's probably hoping that there isn't anything more. I think he would want just to see this one through smoothly. Routine finish here for 3-1, breaking off next in the next frame.
But no, I think you're right. I'm ruling nothing out at this stage. Nothing.
Yeah, we've seen unbelievable things happen out there. Both players making crazy mistakes, miscuing, bounce outs, golden breaks.
Don't think we're going to see a surprise in this frame, though. That is 100% kind of shot from Marc Farnsworth. It was 100% kind of clearance, really, towards the end there. 3-1 his lead in the 4th set. It could be the final set. He's 2 frames away from a spot in the semi-finals against Alex O'Donoghue.
A lot of people will be surprised to see Alex in the semi-finals, but he's a fantastic player. But beating Jordan Shepherd in the quarter-finals would have been a surprise to some. Jordan was the big favourite for this tournament with everything he's done in the shootout, but Alex did play incredibly well to knock him out, really punished the mistakes.
I don't think there's any doubt that Alex is there on merit.
Oh, 100%.
Probably had the toughest run of anyone to the semi-finals. And Marc there has hit that break really, really well. And if he's got an opening shot, which I think he does, he won't be far away. And he'll start to smell blood. Actually, I mean, looking at it now, I'm not sure he's got an easy opening shot. Got one, but it's tricky. That's a really good pot.
15-second shot clock in operation.
That was the tricky pot. And now this clearance is altogether a little bit less tricky. We are now onto the 15-second shot clock, second half of the fourth set. That yellow into the middle could be worth its weight in gold here. That should be the most difficult shot that he has to play in this frame.
You see this a lot from Marc. When he makes tables look easier than they really are, and a lot of that comes down to his shot choice, shot selection and pattern play, but it also comes down to the fact that he plays the difficult shots early, gets his work done, and then he's just riding and working his way through the pattern. There'll be people that watch Marc Farnsworth play going, well, you know, he's a great player, but he does get a lot of easy run-outs. Well, he gets easy run-outs because of how good he is. Just short of perfect position this time. No real dramas. Black goes to both bottom corner pockets.
This to go one away. Marc Farnsworth is almost there. 1 foot now in the semi-final. David McNamara now can afford no more mistakes in this fourth set. That spot in tomorrow's semi-final against Alex O'Donoghue is looking more and more like it's going to be Marc Farnsworth's. But cue ball is in David McNamara's hands in this next frame. A reminder coming up live for you tonight on Free Sports at 9 o'clock following the pool. We do have the NHL. It's making its return in the States. Exhibition match between Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philly Flyers to treat you with this evening. Free Sports Self and the home of hockey in the UK.
Good news for David McNamara and his supporters is that the first 5 frames in this set have happened in less than 8 minutes. So he has the time to win. Well, he has to win 3 frames. He's okay with a drawn set. He could still get to a shootout, or a tiebreak, I should say, although that positional shot is not going to help him, knocking the black safe.
Yeah, that's not ideal at all. It's still doubles, and I think that's what he may just accept here. He can take the yellow at the top, the yellow in the middle, and it'll be okay to land on the double from his yellow at the bottom of the table. But we have seen him struggle a little bit with the doubles.
Well, he wants more than that. He's playing into the black. Great shot.
Oh.
I thought exactly the same as you. I thought he was just going to accept the double, knocked it safe, and just back himself to make it. But that was a great vision, great shot choice. You could just see the way he was lining it up. He was going to play it.
Well, backs to the wall. That's some clearance. That's all he can do. That is all he can do. What a shot this is. That's brilliant. That really is properly good.
Yeah, and I think the fact that the double was on, I think the fact that he's decided to go for it just shows the sort of mind frame he's in here. He's going to try and wrestle himself back into the match by playing aggressive and making those sorts of clearances, because that could have gone wrong. That could have easily gone wrong. He could have knocked the black safe. He could have missed the pot going that way, whereas getting to the double was guaranteed.
Well, that's all that Dave McNamara could do in that last frame. Did it beautifully. But now the ball's in Marc Farnsworth's hands, and this is for a spot in the semi-final. He has made a ball, and that could be all she wrote. This looks like a good setup for him. Let's have a little look at this, Simon. The red on the side of the table on the left side is a bit of a problem, but other than that, reds are there for him, and he's made a horrible error on the first shot, and he knows it.
Yeah, that's a tough pot, but he's missed it by quite a long way. Oh, the black was close. The black was very close. just shows, though, Marc Farnsworth 4-1 ahead, 2-1 ahead. We're sitting here thinking, okay, this is his opportunity to win the match, but there's still a huge amount of pressure out there. He knows that a mistake like he just made could cost him the frame, and therefore it could be 4-4, but next time he touches the table. And it just shows that you have to play all the way through to the final black.
Oh, and yellows aren't easy from here. They are not easy from here.
He'll be happy that he's at the table. When he missed that pot, he would have expected David to make the clearance. Not that it was easy.
Oh, I'll tell you what. What a shot that is. He's unlucky in a sense that the yellow on the bottom cushion hasn't come more out, because that's the only thing you can really have any kind of grievance with. It's such a good shot otherwise, and he's on it now fine. But that's a hell of a pot, a hell of a white ball. That's as good as it gets.
I said this earlier on, great players have short memories. They don't remember the missed pot in his previous visit. It's just straight back to work.
And that shot could well win him the frame here. It's opened the table right up for him. Let's play the two yellows together there to free one out.
This isn't ideal. If the yellow had gone a little bit further up the table and he just had to make this one to the top right corner, then it wouldn't be too bad. But the other thing is, the black now doesn't go to either bottom corner. The black still doesn't go to the... I'm pretty certain that doesn't go to the bottom left. It definitely doesn't go to the bottom right. I don't really think playing this yellow off the red's a great option. The red's a little bit too far away from the pocket. So he's got low on it.
Oh, and this is a horrible shot to win a frame.
It's got to be top right corner, is it? Top right corner, this is tough.
Marc Farnsworth secures his spot in the semi-final with an unbelievable black ball pot. That is some finish from Marc Farnsworth. What a shot, Simon.
What a clearance. I mean, he was chasing that finish. He was working so hard. We're almost forgetting the original opening pot that got him into the visit, and then 2 or 3 great positional shots, great developing shot, and that black was, well, that was huge. If he misses that black, he's, as I was saying earlier in the frame, he's under a lot of pressure. If he misses that black, it could be a deciding frame before we know it. It was right in the heart of the pocket, and Marc Farnsworth moves on.
Well, we can take a look at it in just a moment, but for Marc Farnsworth, a crazy, crazy match, and to win it in this sort of fashion almost feels fitting. He was made to work very, very hard.
Yeah, all credit for David McNamara to keep himself in the match. The way he was going after going 2-0 behind, you could forgive him for thinking it wasn't his night, but he fought hard, and he really had to. He made Marc Farnsworth really have to win it and work hard in that last set to get over the line.
Yeah, an unbelievable finish to that one, and we will be joined by our 4th semi-finalist for a chat about that after the break. Well, welcome back to the Super Series here on Free Sports, ladies and gents. What a match we've just witnessed. Our final quarter-final was worth the wait. Marc Farnsworth taking the victory just over David McNamara, and we've seen some crazy games in this tournament so far, Simon, but that's up there with one of the strangest we've watched in many different ways.
Bizarre in some places, great clearances, unbelievable clearances at times, but the odd really strange mistake. Both players miscued at one point. We saw bounce outs, we saw a golden break, we saw some drama in that second set, which was unbelievable. But yeah, they had a lot going on.
It certainly did, and we're delighted to say we can be joined by our 4th semi-finalist, Marc Farnsworth. He joins us now. Marc, first of all, a massive congratulations. That match must have felt like it took a bit out of you. It was one that just seemed to keep on rumbling with the drama.
Yeah, I didn't feel comfortable at all through the match. I felt as if I started all right. I thought my break was really good all the way through, but I just couldn't seem to get a finish. They were coming out all right when my positional play let us down a number of times, which is normally one of the strongest parts of my game. I thought my positional play was terrible. I think Dave was a bit unlucky with his break early on the match, that he changed the hitting off the head ball, and he was breaking really, really well after that and put us under a bit of pressure, but I just felt as if I wasn't there at all. So many stupid little mistakes, but I managed to pull out a couple of good finishes to manage to nick it.
Congratulations, Marc. Another well, brilliant victory. But one of the things I was looking at with you coming into this event was how were you going to go with a 15 seconds a shot? And in the first round match, it was almost a non-event because you played so well. But in this match, almost like you were fighting the clock a little bit more.
Yeah, the positional play lets down loads of times. Like I just said there, it was just normally I can be pretty precise where I want to be, and obviously it makes the finishes look a little bit easier than what they are. So the shot clock doesn't really come into it. But I felt as if I was a few inches out here and there, and having to like take out big shots and then running out of position again. So it all comes down to cue ball, and I thought it was terrible.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that second set, if we can, mate. If you remember much of it, the final frame in that second set felt like you won it at one point, and then it was like, oh, it's going to go to David, then it's going to be a tie, and then all of a sudden, with 10 seconds left on the watch, you've got a chance to have a black ball finish. Talk me through your emotions during the end of that second set, because it was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, just you try to watch the shot clock as well as the set clock as well, so you sort of you lose your mind a little bit. You sort of want to rush around the till, but you end up just swinging your arm at everything instead of playing the right shots, you know. So I think David, again, he was in the same position as me. He wanted to take the finish out to get a set on the board, when probably he could have played a more tactical shot to put me under a bit more pressure. And likewise, when I got a chance, I think I was doing the same, just swinging my arm at everything and making mistake after mistake.
One thing you must be pleased with, though, is your break. It's something that's talked about quite a lot in the pool world, but your break tonight was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I've put a bit of time in it. The last, obviously, my break's been rubbish for years, but I feel really comfortable with it. But like tonight, I felt as if I was hitting them clean every single time. But for one reason, even when they were coming out nice, I seemed to be drifting out of position quite a few times. I don't know. I can't remember getting many finishes off the break, considering how well I broke. I think it was. I'm slightly disappointed.
Well, we knew you were new coming into this format at the start of the tournament. One of the great exciting factors was seeing how you would go in the shootout format. You almost relieved heading into, obviously, the semi-final that you've had a bit of a mad one, because these games just tend to happen in shootout format, and it feels like you've almost escaped unscathed into the semi-final from a bit of a dramatic night here.
Yeah, I think, especially after the first, I think Dave played really well. His break was really good, and he was just a little bit unfortunate at important times as well. Otherwise, he could have probably getting the fourth set on the board, you know. So I just rode me luck a little bit, and just pleased to get over the line.
Well, congratulations on doing so. We look forward to welcoming you back tomorrow for the semi-final. Just before you leave us, what are your thoughts on your opponent, Alex O'Donoghue?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I didn't really feel comfortable at all during that match. I got some good finishes at important times, which managed to win the match, but refresh, probably have a bit of practice tomorrow, and hopefully play a bit better. Well,
we look forward to watching you, mate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, some interesting thoughts there from Mark there, Simon. It's interesting that the standards that he sets himself, you know, he's coming away from that thinking, in his words, he's played rubbish. It's surely not an opinion you subscribe to, but it was still enough to just get about over the line. But it was a tough game out there for him.
It just shows the standard he sets for himself, and he's disappointed with the way he played. He's happy with the way he battled, and he did have to pull out some big shots and some big clearances to battle through to the semi-finals. But I kind of understand what he means, because his game is built on precision, it's built on good patterns, and it's built on making the game as easy as possible for himself. And when he's doing that, the shot clock isn't a factor. And when he's not doing that, all of a sudden he feels a bit rushed and he's a bit more under pressure. And I guess tonight was one where it just got away from him. But it'd be interesting to see how he comes back tomorrow.
Well, it sets us up for a couple of semi-finals, which should be absolutely brilliant. We finally now have our final four. There they are. Sean Storey takes on Gareth Hibbert. We knew that one after last night's affair, where Gareth Hibbert took down John McAllister, and Marc Farnsworth will take on Alex O'Donoghue tomorrow night for a spot in the Super Series final, all of which will come to a head next Tuesday. Your thoughts on our semi-finalists there, Simon?
All four finalists very worthy of being there. Sean Storey's played fantastic through this event. He's had a couple of dips here and there, but he's always fought back well, and he's won the big moments. Gareth Hibbert in the last round was the performance of the quarterfinals. That performance from Gareth was as good as I've seen him for a few years. And Marc Farnsworth, one of the best players ever, obviously had to work a little bit harder tonight, but that performance in the first round for me is one of the best performances we've ever seen in this style of the game. So if he can repeat that, he's going to be tough to beat. And Alex, we've seen him in two deciding sets, and when the big moments have been there, he's won them, and he's won them in great style.
Well, we've got plenty more coming up for you on Free Sports. In the pool world especially, we are treating you in the next couple of weeks or so. Tomorrow, our semi-final is now set. It will be Marc Farnsworth against Alex O'Donoghue. Join us same time, same place tomorrow night. And then on Thursday, we have the next semi-final as Gareth Hibbert takes on Sean Storey. Plenty of excitement setting up for that final on Tuesday. But before Tuesday, we have some money matches. We can't wait for these. Paddy McCarran takes on Matt Lawrenson for the princely sum of £2,000. And then in the main event on Monday, it's a really, really big one. 5,000 Griffins on the line as John Roberts takes on Martin McIntosh. Following that one, it should be an absolute belter. Really, really looking forward for the money matches on Free Sports. They're on amuse-bouche for the Super Series final on Tuesday night. And do stay with us here on Free Sports. We've still got plenty on the way. From across the pond as the Pittsburgh Pens take on the Philly Flyers. That is in the NHL. Exhibition match from Toronto coming up following us here at the pool. But that will just about do us from an incredible night in the West Midlands. The final quarter-final gave us so much entertainment. Join us for the next 2 nights as the entertainment ratchets up. A place in the Super Series final is in the offing. Semi-finals are next. We cannot wait to join you tomorrow night for those. From now, though, good night.
Too fast, too fly, too funny, too gas, too high, yeah, we on it. We go wherever the crew going. I'm ready, so tell me who want it.
This program is brought to you by Taom Billiards.